We'll call to order the Board of Health meeting for the town of Shrewsbury. Today is August 23rd. Minutes of the last meeting were distributed electronically. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes as written.
Approved.
Thank you, Ms. Rosacci. Abraham says aye as well. The minutes are approved. The first issue is to review and act on the 410 Oak Street property, which has been in disuse for a fair degree of time, and there's been some concerns about illegal dumping and overgrowth. We have Town Council and Keith Baldinger here. Welcome. And thank you for joining us.
Morning.
I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Stephen Madaus, Town Council. Nice to meet you all this morning. So I was brought in about this property. I did review online. It's visible that it's been unoccupied, perhaps, almost abandoned. There are fallen trees and other growth occurring. The property's not being kept. I know that this board voted under our bylaw, under the nuisance property provision. But my preference is, in light of the fact that we have been unable to locate a proper owner, that this board consider voting under the statutory provisions in Chapter 111. And I apologize for the lengthy agenda item, but that was to capture, if you will, all that would be required. Because under the statutory provisions in Chapter 111, if this board were to find that the property constitutes a nuisance, a source of filth or cause of sickness, and I think as a threat to public health, one might argue that the fallen limbs present a risk to those that might either be walking by or visitors to the property, whether it be our police or fire or the post office. If an order was issued under the statute, we would seek to, we would provide notice as best we can, including posting it if we can't. There are provisions in the statute when you can't find the record owner, how you attempt to give notice. But we have to build this record of the attempt to give notice, the opportunity for the property owner, whether it's the decedent, the descendant, the daughter of the record owners, because we know from the assessing records, there was a couple that owned the house. The husband is deceased. I'm not sure about the wife, but we can't find her. And so if it's the daughter who owns the house by inheritance, we would try to serve her with the notice and give opportunity to correct, abate the nuisance. And failing that, we would go to housing court to seek an order where the town could enter the property and clean it up. But we don't have even though the statutes read that we could, the town or any Board of Health could enter to abate the nuisance, there's a U.S. Supreme Court case that holds we have to have an administrative warrant or an order of the court to actually remove material from the property. So this would start that process of building the record that would allow us, if the owner won't comply or won't grant the town permission to do that work, that would be the best case scenario. If we find that daughter, she grants the permission, we enter, clean it up. But if that isn't available to us, we would go to housing court to get the order of the court.
Great. So if I understood you correct, you want us to move a motion to at least allow you to move forward on the request to identify the next of kin, et cetera, to be able to...
Yeah, to find that the, as kind of set forth in the agenda item, find that the property is a nuisance property located at 410 Oak Street, which may be injurious to public health, and issue an order to the owner or occupant of such premises to remove the nuisance within a reasonable period of time. I don't know what that would be, 10 days, 30 days. And then failing that the town would pursue enforcement of that order in the proper court.
Got it. Okay.
In the past, when things like this have happened, how long have we given people? Like, because you just mentioned 10 or 30 days. I mean, what's this?
Yeah.
What have we done in the past?
It varies, and I know your agents may have more experience than I do on, I think it varies on the
Like
potential
severity.
threat, you know? You can give 24-hour notice for certain conditions. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think this merits a 24-hour notice. I'm sure abutters might have a different opinion, but, I mean, I would say anywhere from 10 to 30 days.
Okay.
30 days reasonable?
Yeah, and I think from the town's perspective, Keith Baldinger, Assistant Town Manager for Operations, for the record. You know, this has been an issue with this property for quite some time, and we do field a lot of complaints from the neighbors, and we do want to do what's best for the neighborhood and try and get this cleaned up. So we would ask that the time period, you know, at your discretion, like the shorter the better, as we'd like to move forward to get this squared away.
10 days?
That's perfectly acceptable for us, that would be great.
I think that's, I mean, I feel that that's reasonable.
So without rereading the entire motion as listed in the agenda, but as was pointed out, so we'll take a motion. So I'll say Abraham says aye. Ms. Rosacci?
Aye.
All right. So it's unanimous. The Board of Health definitely votes. The details of the motion are as listed in the agenda, and we'll give a 10-day notice. Great. Excellent. And that's it on this agenda item? Anything more that we could do for you?
No, thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll see, upon the expiration of the 10-day term after notice has been properly served or posted, we'll inform this board about enforcement. That's included here, that we would seek enforcement if they fail to comply with the order.
And that can be part of our motion? So essentially
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
yes, so that we won't have to reconvene the board in 10 days to get to your next step.
But that's part of what's on this agenda item, that we, kind of automatically, if you will, so there's no need to.
Fair.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Fair.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Likewise.
Have a nice weekend.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to mention one thing as a follow-up. The Board of Health's best practice is to put a formal communication together from the board about their decision for today's agenda and forward that on to the town manager's office, Keith certainly, and yourself,
Yeah.
So that it's a record.
That
Thank you.
sounds excellent.
And we'll work together on the order
Yes.
to be served.
Happy to do so.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
you.
much.
Have a nice
Have a
day.
good day.
Bye.
Right, next agenda item is to discuss the 65 Prospect Street, the Mount View Cemetery Expansion Project. So what we'd like to do is have a public hearing on this matter, and we'd like to set a date and time, which we are proposing at September 25, which is Wednesday, at 8 a.m. in this room. This will immediately follow the Board of Health meeting on that date. Immediately after the Board of Health meeting, we'll have an open hearing where people may comment about the Mount View Cemetery expansion project. And I think appropriate notice will be provided by Ms. Stockwell to the public to be able to attend this meeting.
So you have representatives here, Kevin Esposito,
Oh.
Andy Truman, that's been involved in the project, and there are representatives from BSC Group that are on the phone that did the plan.
Wonderful. Good morning, and thank you for taking the time
Morning.
to be here today. Welcome.
morning.
And we'll turn it over to any comments
Well,
you'd
I'm,
like.
for the record, Andy Truman, I'm a town engineer, Engineering Conservation Division Manager.
Kevin Esposito, the Parks and Cemetery Division Manager.
Great. Thank you. And we have someone joining us online, please.
Yes, good morning. Dominic Rinaldi with BSC Group, civil engineer for the project, and with me as well are Ricardo Ostrich and Rachel Salch, the landscape architects and principal designers for the project.
Wonderful.
Also BSC Group.
Wonderful, wonderful. Welcome.
morning.
Welcome. Would any of you like to make any preliminary comments about this?
I mean, certainly if the board wishes, we can walk you through the proposal very quickly. So you understand what's going on better. If you want to ask any preliminary questions, we're here for that as well.
I think that'd be great. Yes, we can do it briefly, and then we can reserve time next time for our next meeting where the public might also be able to ask you questions. But please, go ahead.
Sure. Can I ask to present?
Absolutely, please.
What is- Sorry, I'm not as used to Google Meet as other things, so let me make sure I'm getting the right thing.
You bet. No worries.
All right. Okay, let me get to. It's just got really small. Two is okay. So hopefully we can all see this.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, as I said, it's a Mountain View Cemetery expansion. I'll push through this very quickly, so we'll go into more details in the public hearing. But certainly, so the idea is to expand Mountain View Cemetery, which is located down here in the bottom left, across Boylston Street into the southern end of Prospect Hill Park. The intent is this is more of a landscape cemetery. Then you can sort of see the difference in layout with the roads, and it won't be rows upon rows of headstones. It's intended to very much be built into the natural environment, minimize grading, minimize tree removal, really become a place that isn't just for the disposition of bodies, but for the really for the entire town to use as for passive recreation, place to go, get into nature, enjoy a quiet, peaceful area. You can see that the total property of Prospect Hill Park, the cemetery would use about 19 acres of that at the very southern end. The first part is the total right now is planned about 5,700 total burials throughout that 19 acres. Roughly 60% of that currently proposed as full body burials, and the other 40% being cremation. The site will be built out all at once, meaning roadways, minimal grading, the tree clearing that's going to occur. But the area within here in this red box is the area that'll sort of be pre-excavated to allow the town the first, say, 15 to 20-ish years of services. That'll allow the town to sort of, as time progresses, burial trends, I'm sure you're aware, burial trends change, laws change, will allow them to adjust to that. The rest of the area, the trees will be cleared, minimal grading will occur, but those areas will be converted to meadow to reduce maintenance and allow the area to remain in a natural state. Few of the features, there's 3 vehicular entrances. The one on the south end of Prospect Street here is the primary vehicle entrance for cemetery operations near the cemetery office building. There'll be another entrance off Boylston Street, which is really a maintenance and facilities entrance, as there'll be a maintenance building at this end, and then further up Prospect Street, an entry that will connect to an expanded parking area intended for users of Prospect Hill Park. You can see sort of, as I mentioned, that landscape layout, including a gazebo in the central area. They can be used both for folks visiting their loved ones as well as just anyone wanting to use the park. You can see we'll give more of the details in the future, but you can see more, some details of what the entrances have looked like, what they can look like, what they do look like. We'll be doing extensive tree buffers and plantings in the area, as I said, to maintain that natural environment and to buffer it from the surrounding residential community. One of the features we're going to use, if you are familiar with the site and have been out there, there are several existing stone walls. We're going to be actually incorporating those stone walls into the cemetery as features, uses such as memorial walls. You can see some examples here of what's been done, what exists, but we really think these are features of the site that need to be maintained and improved upon.
Hey, Mark, it's Andy Truman. I think all we're seeing is the PowerPoint slide. We're not seeing anything else.
Which
If you go to the top left corner, you can see begin.
it didn't
It's not
advance?
scrolling through. No, we're just seeing the
Yeah,
whole PowerPoint.
try-
I just
Yeah.
realized you're pointing to stuff that no one can
There
see.
you go.
So
It's not in slideshow mode.
yes.
Or if you go down to the bottom where your mouse is, so if you move it a little further to your left.
Yeah, actually, let me get back on Google Meet. Sorry, I'm actually working from home today, so I'm only on one screen, which is, as crazy as that sounds, is something that throws me for a massive loop. Yeah, let me actually just stop sharing. And so it didn't advance that whole time?
No.
No, we're just seeing the whole PowerPoint.
Okay. Let me try again.
Dom, you might, I don't know if you have a separate option, but it might be a screen share instead of just a window share.
Oh, yeah. Let me do that. All right. Oh, that's fun. Are you getting it now? Do you guys have it now?
It's still on, so you may just need to move into slideshow mode.
Right.
Yeah,
There we go.
there you
There
go.
we go.
All right.
Okay.
Now we're in
Yeah.
business.
Getting it. All right.
It looked
And
really
we
big
did
on my
have
screen.
copies
Is
of
that-
your slides, so
Yeah.
we were able to
So you-
see it on our end.
Yeah, so,
Yeah,
yes, fortunately, yes. So
There you go.
don't need to repeat yourself, but just
I
keep,
won't, but
keep
so
going.
we'll
All right.
roll through these if certainly if you have any questions for now. And again, we'll go over this more in the public hearing. I believe you said the 25th of September.
So I might ask you a dumb question, which is concerns about potentially leaching into drinking water or water supply or anything like that. I'm sure you've thought of all these well before, but just for purpose of the record, maybe.
Yeah, so that generally here, let me go off screen so I can actually see folks as well. Ooh, that is something.
We,
So-
we have copies here, so feel free to go ahead and we can follow your
Yeah.
slideshow here.
So, yeah, as far as leaching goes, I mean, you know, burials are done in concrete, cases, as well as it's not direct burials. These are standard burials in compliance with all laws of the Commonwealth. It is not generally considered any sort of a concern with regards to drinking water or any, you know, contaminants.
Got it.
Cemeteries are surprisingly clean.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, it's not near any of our drinking wells, so it's on our zone too.
Excellent, great, thank you. And then just concerns from parking or anything else with cars going in and out, et cetera, would that affect any of the neighbors or abutting properties?
No, the entrances are, you know, the entrances are designed for, you know, easy turning, emergency access. There is, as I said, parking for the park up in that northwest corner. The driveways of the park are the edges are reinforced so folks can pull over on the side. It is not intended that, you know, this is again, people using it would be more for passive recreation. There are pedestrian entrances as well. We expect that folks living in the neighborhood will walk to the site, hopefully, but it is designed for standard cemetery purposes, and we don't expect any, you know, impediments to the neighborhood from a traffic standpoint.
Great. And you said it increases the capacity by about 5,700 new slots or plots?
Yes, give or take. So obviously there's some you know, some fluff in there, some flux in there, depending upon burial trends over time. But that's what's currently laid out.
Got it. Good. I have no further questions. Ms. Rosacci? Yeah.
I don't either.
All right. Well, thank you for the visuals. That helped a lot, and thank you for taking the time to present. We have no further questions. We look forward to inviting you to join at the public hearing, which will be on September 25th, shortly after the board meeting. So give or take 8:15, 8:20 or so, and then if there are further questions from the public, that we will be able to field any questions. So thank you in advance for being here for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Bye. Bye. Thanks.
Stockwell, do we need to go through the details of the timeline of the notices, et cetera, but that'll be just an
Oh,
operational
no,
matter?
I will take care of all that, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
you will get a copy of that.
Excellent, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Communicable disease update, Mr. Dennis?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning to the board. My name is Solo Dennis. I'm the director for the Central Mass Regional Public Health Alliance. At this time, I will ask my colleague, Ms. Amelia Halton, Chief of Public Health Nursing, to give an update.
Thank you. Morning.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to the board. So as we know, respiratory season is upon us. And we've actually had very few flu reported cases last month. And of course, people tend to stay home and we don't know that these cases exist. So literally one case was reported to us. No RSV was reported. COVID was not much, maybe about 20, 25 cases at the most. And in staying with COVID, according to the wastewater summary recently, cases are rising. The hospitalizations are kind of on this very small zigzag. Just they're up, and then a month later they're down a little bit, and now we're getting into the season where you might see more cases, more hospitalizations. And of course, the response to this is masking and vaccination. And in the news lately, as we also talked about last month, the FDA has approved the new COVID vaccines, and these are the ones from Pfizer and Moderna. I think Novavax is the one that's still waiting. And these are against the predominant variants. And I think from this point on, the vaccines, like the flu vaccines, will be against the predominant variants year after year. And of course, I know we talked about this last time, but just to give a quick overview of the vaccine information for who's eligible to be vaccinated. Now, we're saying that the COVID vaccine will be out soon. That much we know. And the CDC recommends everyone who's eligible to get one, okay? 6 months to 17 years, 6 months to 4 years may need more than one dose. Adults 18 years plus, pregnant people administer as soon as new formulation is available, which we think is now the end of August. For flu, 6 months to 17 years, 18 years to 59 years, and 60 plus. That category may need a higher dose. And then pregnant people administer vaccine early fall after the new formulation becomes available. With RSV, all infants less than 8 months, infants 8 to 19 months with risk factors should get the nirsevimab, that's the monoclonal antibody. That actually protects for 5 months. And then we jump into adults 75 plus and adults 60 to 74 with risk factors. They should all get a lifetime dose. And then pregnant people 32 to 36 should receive, Pfizer is the one who makes the RSV vaccine for pregnant people. So they would be getting the Pfizer Abrysvo only. Okay, so that's it for that. We didn't have any measles. In terms of the arborvirus reporting, Shrewsbury, along with Worcester, stands at moderate risk for West Nile virus exposure, and we are still at low risk for Tripoli. And I send those reports out every Monday when the new arborvirus data comes out. And of course, you know that throughout the week, we get these addendums here and there. There's a new case, there's a new case. And with Worcester, we will be acting upon it and sending out more notices if it's in our jurisdiction catchment area, which obviously includes Shrewsbury. And I just wanted to say something about what's been in the news regarding the recent Mpox outbreak. It's global. It's affecting right now about 13 African countries. And there's There's more than one clade, there's more than one variant. And right now, it's contained in those countries. In terms of the United States and our risk level, it's very, very low. But more to come on that. I'm working on like a news type fact sheet to send out to the towns. Hopefully by the end of this week, early next week, for more information. And I think that's it on our end for communicable diseases.
Oh, I had a question.
Yeah,
Have you seen any reports of pertussis?
not lately.
I was going to ask just the same thing. Yes, there's been the CDC advisory of an increase in pertussis cases, so,
Yeah,
right. And as best I know, since both vaccines are already been approved, they are the monovalent for COVID only. Moderna was looking at a flu-COVID combined vaccine, but I guess that's not hitting the streets yet because last year they had a problem, and when they combined it with the flu, the efficacy of the COVID portion went down. And so they were trying to surmount those challenges. So I guess that still hasn't happened. So it'll be the version against the KP.2, which is the current variant. Great. Mr. Dennis, any other comments?
No comment at this time.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
thank you.
And then the updates from the Central Mass Regional Public Health Alliance, Mr. Dennis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I will ask my colleague, Mr. Devon Talton, Regional Environmental Inspector for the Alliance Town, to give an update.
Great. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Chair and Board. I'm here today to, I guess, give an update. I'm not sure if the update is me just explaining the actual
Yes.
things that are going on in the town.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sure.
So there was 4 emergency inspections, 1 food complaint, 3 mobile food inspections, 2 pre-operational food inspections, 29 routine food inspections, 7 temporary food inspections. We had 1 foodborne illness complaint, 1 hotel pre-operational inspections, and 12 nuisance inspections, with a total of 12 food establishment inspections. There was 8 Title V projects inspections in town.
Were the emergencies anything specific or?
The emergency inspection was a gas leak reported at the Shrewsbury Nursing and Rehab. The gas was disrupted at the Shrewsbury Nursing and Rehab at Southgate as well. The gas was restored by the evening. Both food establishments identified a temporary plan for hot water for sanitizing and switched to cold meals. It was the issue was addressed by the evening of that day.
Got it. And no residents were affected by the leak?
No, not at all.
Residents of the nursing facility?
Not at all.
The foodborne illness, do we know what it was? GI?
The foodborne illness, the individual complained of a chemical taste after getting ill from eating at KFC. Emma Stefanski, the health agent in town, conducted a routine inspection. From her inspection, all temps were in normal range. The sanitizer had a low concentration, but it was corrected on the spot. Chemicals were stored away from food. Tables were frequently cleaned, and the person in charge demonstrated knowledge of proper use. So at the time, she could not actually figure out what the customer maybe have tasted in the food at the time.
Got it.
Great, thank you.
Further questions, Ms. Researchy?
No questions.
Right. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, we'll review the meeting schedule for the next meeting. Ms. Tuckwell, did I misspeak when I said the public hearing will follow the board meeting, or would you prefer the public hearing occur first and the board meeting follow?
Yeah, so actually, the public hearing will take place as what's going to be stated in the legal notice, and then immediately following the closure of that, we'll go right into our regular
Got
Board of
it.
Health meeting.
Okay, apologies for the misspeak, thank you. So September 25th still will be our board meeting following the
Yes.
public meeting?
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
Excellent, great, thank you. I have no further agenda items. Does anyone else do? If not, thank you for your time and attention.
Do you have a motion to,
Oh, yes, motion to adjourn. Sorry, Ms. Rosachi, yes.
Approved, aye.
Thank you. Abraham, I motion, meeting adjourned. My apologies.